Welcome to the future, step inside our AI domain, where the boundaries of imagination start to fade.
And welcome to my video on how to create a podcast using AI. I'm going to basically show you everything that you need from beginning to scratch. I'm going to be using Microsoft Edge as my browser. You can use Chrome or anything else. And what you want to go to is NotebookLM.google.com. Just hit enter. Okay, just sign in with your Google account. I had an issue with my account, but I'm all logged in there. And what we want to do is create a new notebook. And when you create a new notebook, this is how you create a podcast. But you want content and a subject to create the podcast about. So what I would usually do is go into another internet page I have. I'll go into Copilot or your AI or whichever you'd like to do. And so I did the prompt. Please can you gather the most up-to-date and relevant news this week on AI podcasting and help me learn the latest advancements. I'm doing this in Copilot because it's got access to the internet and it's going to research the internet for me first and get relevant information from websites and things. So while that's brought up this information here, I'm just going to grab this. This has got all the sources included, so I'm going to copy it from there and bring this back over to our Notes app now. So as you can see, all I've done is gathered information on what we want the podcast to be about. Excuse me. Now we're going to take this information over to our sources and we're going to put it in as copied text. Now you can make the podcast about any of those sources. I'll show you now. So I've just copied my text in here. I'm going to put AI podcasting. There we go. Going to insert that in. So now this is one of our 5 sources. We can have up to 5 sources. And to add more sources, we click the plus there. So if you do have a blog URL or something like that that you want the podcast to be about, so we've added our note into our notebook. So now we just want to name the notebook. Okay, so now I've named that. And before we generate our podcast, we want to do a bit more research, I would say, on the subject. So first of all, let's brief the document. This will generate a briefing of the document that we're working on. As you can see, it's got information about the podcasting. There we go. It's got the sources. I should have deleted the conversation with Copilot. There we go. So I'm going to tick that, add it as one of my notes. I'm going to go back into the notebook guide and I'm going to do a FAQ of the information. This will just generate a quick FAQ. So I'm kind of building the information I want to be included into the podcast. So we want to So what are AI podcasts? How are AI podcasts changing the landscape? What topics to be covered in AI podcasts? There you go. We've got business, ethical considerations, breakthroughs in AI. I probably should have done an ethical one, to be honest. Can you recommend some popular AI podcasts? There's one there, two there. Hyper Right AI podcast. And there you have it. So there's some information about that. I can tick that to include that. Let's go into the notebook guide again. I don't really need a timeline. Study guide is more something that you can use to study that information yourself. So I think we can combine the notes. So I've ticked these two notes here with the checkboxes, okay? And up here I've got options. So tick, tick. I'm going to combine to note. Now I've got one note with the FAQ and the briefing. I'm just going to delete that, but you can combine the notes and do different things with it. Just going to delete that one. Select those two. I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but that's pretty much it. We've got some settings up here I haven't really gone into because it's not Discord notebook FAQ. There we go. We've got information. Pasted text or sources. That goes back to the other notes. So we've got everything we need. So I'm just going to generate this now and generate the podcast. All we have to do is click generate. To be honest, if you want a longer podcast, I'd include more sources, make the context a bit bigger, a bit fuller, just do a bit more research about things. You can easily come on over to here and ask more questions. Tell me more about Google's NotebookLM. So you can add this to the source, and this will make it more detailed. YouTube videos, so yeah, you can get transcribes from YouTube videos. Sorry, so I just copy this over. I'm just going to add this to the sources now. Fine. I'm just going to insert that. Okay. So that information's there. I am going to generate. And while that generates, I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, let me press play on our AI podcasting news and latest advancements.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into the AI podcasting explosion. We're strapping on our scuba gear for this one and diving deep into this ocean of innovation.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild world out there right now.
It really is.
And it's changing so fast.
I know. It's like every time I think I've got a handle on things, bam,
Yeah.
something new pops up.
Exactly.
Luckily, that's what we have this deep dive for, to help us make sense of it all. So,
Brilliant.
AI podcasting. Where do we even
And there
begin?
you go. The podcast
Well, I think
is
a good place
created.
to start is by saying that we're not just talking.
So, what do we do with this now? I mean, you've got this podcast. It's just sound. How do you make a video? How are you going to get it into? How are you going to get it into being something that you can play? I'll show you this now. So in this account, a Microsoft account, you get a free Microsoft account with Microsoft. You can go into your Edge browser or log into your Microsoft account. What I do is I go to Outlook or somewhere like that, and then up here you can click these dots and click Clipchamp. And Clipchamp is a software that we can use to put that audio file. So I want to create a new video. Let's just accept the cookies for Clipchamp. Okay. You don't need to pay for this. It's free software that comes with your free account. And what we want to do is download our podcast. So to download that, you just click these dots, download. Okay. Now what we want to do is drag that. I'll just move this out of the way. We just want to drag our podcast. So wherever you downloaded it to, just drag it into here. So you also want some kind of scene to go with your podcast. So I've just clicked Content Library, clicked Visuals. Actually, I'll turn Visuals off. And I'm just going to type in, no, templates actually. I'm just going to type podcast. Excuse me, that was just uploading. Just going to type podcast. I've got this one here, you see. So I'm just going to click plus on that. And now that podcast is in here. So what I'm going to do is just change this to what I want it to look like. So I'll show you what I mean. Obviously I don't want the background to be pink. So I can just change that easily by clicking on it, selecting color and changing the color of the background. Okay. So for now I'm just going to have it black. I'm just going to press play. There's no podcast. There's no podcast there. We don't want the classroom sound. We've got a podcast introduction there. So what we want to do is grab our media that we created.
Hey everyone, and
Jam that in there. Actually, we put it below the audio visualizer, so we can zoom out by clicking this. And what we want to do is drag our podcast items right the way over now. The longer you've dragged the video over, the slower the system will go. So this is the length of our video, audio, sorry. So I'm just going to drag that to the length of our audio. There we go. As you can see.
hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into the AI podcasting
Pause that.
explosion.
As you can see, that is text. So I can click into the text, bring the text over. And what did we name our podcast? AI podcasting news and latest advancements. Let me just paste that in. I don't call them podcasts. I don't like the idea of a podcast. I call it a globecast. I don't use Apple, so I don't cast to any pod. I don't cast to an iPod. I don't cast to Apple Pods. I don't cast to my TV. So I need to call it something like a globecast. I've actually called my series Listen Lab, so I'm going to call it Listen Lab. I don't know what number I'm on at the moment, so I'm going to call it Listen Lab 4. Listen, AI podcasts and news and advancements. Add the logo. With the logo, I'm just going to put a picture of the two faces. Anyway, you get the idea. You can stick.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into the AI podcasting explosion.
You can stick a logo in there basically, and what I do is put two faces of the two AI robots that are talking.
Gear for this one and diving deep into this ocean of innovation.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild world out there right now.
It really is.
And it's changing so fast.
I know. It's like every time I think I've got a handle on things, bam.
Yeah.
Something new pops up.
Exactly.
Luckily, that's what we have this deep dive for, to help us make sense of it all. So, AI podcasting. Where do we even begin?
Well, I think a good...
There we go. Find a background now. And I can also change the color of the audio visualizer so that it goes against the background to make it a bright blue. And in the middle, I will make it like a ready. No, something that stands out white. Okay, so I'm going to go with green and blue, and I'm going to place it at the bottom as well. Transform, which is at the bottom. So that's at the bottom. I'm going to put it at the top. And also I'm going to add some captions by just clicking the CC at the top here, and then transcribe media. Now this will use AI now to transcribe the media for me. I just need to cough. So there we have it. It's not long. This is just really quick. That's just going to turn around that little loading bar there. While that's transcribing, I'm just going to press play.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into the AI
Perhaps a bit
podcasting
slow.
explosion. We're strapping on our scuba gear for this one and diving deep into this ocean of innovation.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild world out there right now.
It really is.
And it's changing so fast.
I know. It's like every time I think I've got a handle
There
on
we
things,
go.
bam,
Yeah,
something new pops up.
There's
exactly.
our
Luckily, that's what we have this deep dive
subtitles,
for,
right? So
to help us make
with the
sense of it all.
subtitles, you can
So,
put to control
AI
them. You don't really
podcasting.
have much options here.
Where
Like,
do we even begin?
sorry,
Well, I
let me
think a
just
good place
pause
to
that.
start is by saying that.
Sorry. So to control the captions, you don't really have much options here. Like, I'm repeating what I just said while this was talking, just so you know you haven't lost anything. So yeah, to get the captions editable, there's nothing there. So pause the video while they're on the screen, then highlight them. Okay, and then you get all these additional options: effects, fade, text. And so I usually change the text type to something that's a bit more kind of readable or a bit more quirky. That looks, make the size a bit bigger. Obviously I can't make that one bigger. Okay, red rose. Just find a decent text that you want to use. There we go. And I can drag that anywhere I want. So I'm going to put that just underneath the talking, because normally I would have the images there, just underneath the visual. There we go. So normally I would have the image down here. Press play.
Not just talking about AI making
Change the color a bit.
podcasts.
Right, it's so much bigger than that now.
Exactly. AI is becoming part of the podcasting experience itself.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. What do we mean by AI actually becoming part of the podcast?
Well, imagine for a second you're trying to get through this super dense article. You know, where you have to read the same sentence like 5 times.
Oh, tell me about it. Happens all the time.
So imagine that instead of struggling through all that text, you could just listen to a
There we
conversation
go,
about
you
it.
see?
Now, that sounds like
And
something I
that's
could
pretty
get
much our
behind.
podcast done.
But
That's
how
an
does that...
8-minute podcast.
It really is. And
You
more
can
than
put
a
an
little
intro and an outro onto it if you need to. So you can just get these from here. Just close those visuals and do intro. Just be careful using Clipchamp music. You will need to put a copyright fight. Whenever you use the music on YouTube, it will come up with copyright. Just put in a dispute and they'll release it for you, because you have full access to all the video in this. But I won't go into that now. What did I just put up? Intro, visuals, videos. Maybe they're in templates, so look for a video intro. And they're like YouTube intros and things. There you go, like a channel intro. So you can put your name there of your podcast and your little social handle. So you could use that. These are all game related, but you could just use them. I think you might be able to change certain things, but just have a look. You might be able to change that little animal there. You might be able to put in your own little logo and things. So have a look at these different intros. Ones you can't use have got this little logo on them, the diamond. So you just have to pay. It's only $9.99 a month, and that's in dollars. So yeah, quite cheap. I pay for it, just so you know. Yeah, anyway, there's all sorts of intros that you can create for all sorts of different channels. There's a podcast one. No, it's product. PO and a D, that's all dyslexia makes you see it all the same. So yeah, look, there's a one you put your little tech team intro. But no. So yeah, anyway, let's
Hey,
go. Press play. See what
remember
happens
to
at
check
the
out the
end.
show notes for those curated podcast lists. Your next AI obsession could be just a click away.
happy listening.
And until next time, keep those ears open and those minds curious.
And obviously on YouTube that would just cut off and it will go to the next video. So I just jam a few extra seconds on the end so that you've got that buffer between the time that the video finishes. So 9:20, 9:50. I reckon about 15 seconds. 9:20, 15.
Remember to check out the show notes for those curated podcast lists. Your next AI obsession could be just a click away.
Happy listening.
And until next time, keep those ears
Keep
open
those ears
and those
open.
minds curious.
I'm actually going to put my intro in because I'm going to use this video. So I'm going to import my media, do a quick search for intro because I have it in, just dumped in podcast intro. There we go. Open. And now to do this, I'm going to have to drag this back, all of it together, because I need to stick an intro in the middle. The intro is going to go there. Now I just need to drag all this back again to there. There we go. And I need to make sure that the intro actually displays what I need it to. So do the animation. Bam, 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 bam.
Hey everyone, and welcome
And
to
it
your
opens
deep
up
dive
into
into the
Listen
AI
Lab,
podcasting
number 4,
explosion.
podcast.
We're strapping on our scuba gear for this one and diving deep into this ocean of innovation.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild world.
I think I probably want the captions to be a bit different. I want it to be a bit more readable, you know. And I don't think caps is readable. I struggle to read all caps. And the word is really out there. It really is. And I think the blue might struggle with my eyes. But you can put shadows and things. Extra line height. If there's problems, letter spacing. Oh. Outlines, make the letters better. Make this thick. Custom the outline. Put some shadows in there. Big shadow. Close shadow. Distant shadow. So yeah, that's that anyway. So yeah, I think that's good enough to go.
World out there right now.
It really
Start again
is.
from the
Let's
beginning.
Welcome to the future.
I
Step
think that's a
inside
bit too loud. 75.
our AI
Oh,
tool.
it's just really loud. It's jamming my ears.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into the AI podcasting explosion. We're strapping on our scuba gear for this one and
Right, so that's
diving
that.
deep into
I'm
this
going to
ocean of
export that
innovation.
now, and to do that, all we've got to do is click. You see, I've done this whole video just from. That intro took me a while to take, so that is an asset I created before, but I've downloaded the MP3 file from the notes. I created the details that I needed from Copilot, did research on the internet from that, grabbed it into the notebook LM, created all the research details, click generate, dragged it into here, and then copied a tiny little template for podcasts, and then changed the name and the details I needed. Put in my intro. Once you created your intro, oh no, oops. I didn't actually mean to do that, so undo it. Oops, and again. Okay. Yeah, once you created your intro once, that's it. You don't need to do it again. You can just
Hey
drag it
everyone,
every
and
time.
welcome to your deep dive into the AI podcasting explosion.
So I'm going to export that now as, it's called Untitled. No, it's called AI Podcasts and News and Latest Advancements. So just extract that. You need premium for 4K, but there's no 4K media. And there we go. That's going to export now. I'm going to pause this until it's finished and then play the end video. Hello, so that video is finished. Let's play it now.
Welcome to the future. Step
Drag it over
inside
here.
our AI tool.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your deep dive into the AI podcasting explosion. We're strapping on our scuba gear for this one and diving deep into this ocean of innovation.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild world out there right now.
It really is.
And it's changing so fast.
I know. It's like every time I think I've got a handle on things, bam,
Yeah,
something new pops up.
exactly.
Luckily, that's what we have this deep dive for, to help us make sense of it all. So, AI podcasting, where do we even begin?
Well, I
As you
think a
can
good
see,
place
it's
to
going
start is by
quite.
saying that we're not just talking about AI making podcasts.
Right. It's so much bigger than
Just
that.
made the
Exact-
podcast for us. I'll leave a link in the video to this podcast. Shouldn't have any issues trying to find it. All right. And that's pretty much it. With that podcast now, you can upload it to YouTube, upload it wherever you need for whatever you need, anywhere that you can publish a podcast. So it's been 30 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It hasn't been too boring. And I shall see you on the other side, hopefully with your podcast video. If you do make a podcast video or podcast audio, whatever, check it out in the comments. Leave a link. Make sure you subscribe as well. Check out my any other upcoming how-tos or my AI content I create. So thank you very much and goodbye.
Welcome to the future, step inside our AI domain, where the boundaries of imagination start to fade. We're the visionaries, the keepers of tomorrow's dreams, unlocking the secrets of the universe, or so it seems. Tune in now, join the channel and explore the AI oracle's wisdom like never seen before. We'll take you on a journey where knowledge comes alive. The future's here, embrace the AI oracle's guide.